Daniel chapter 2. Now here's a difference that it makes when someone decides that they're going to stand out. The king in Daniel chapter 2, he had a dream, and Nebuchadnezzar could not remember his dream. So he went and he called for all his magicians. He went and he called for all his astrologers, and he said, if you are unable to tell me what I dreamt, and if you are not able to tell me what that interpretation is, all the wise men will be slain and cut asunder. And none of them couldn't do it. As a matter of fact, they panicked and they said, no one can do that, that's impossible. But when the word reached Daniel, which was among the wise men to be slain, Daniel stood out, and because Daniel stood up for God and stood out, he was able to interpret that dream. And that interpretation that he gave was about the image, the great image that Nebuchadnezzar saw. Now let's look at it in the scripture. So we have established that no one could interpret the dream. But here Daniel was able to interpret the dream. The second verse, the second chapter of Daniel and chapter 24. Verse 24, sorry. Therefore Daniel went in unto Arioch, whom the king had ordained to destroy the wise men of Babylon. He went and said thus unto him, destroy not the wise men of Babylon, bring me in before the king. I will shew the king the interpretation. Then Arioch brought in Daniel before the king in haste, and said thus unto him, I have found a man of the captives of Judah that will make known unto the king the interpretation. The king answered and said unto Daniel, whose name was Belteshazzar, art thou able to make known unto me the dream which I have seen and the interpretation thereof? This was Daniel's response. Daniel answered in the presence of the king and said, the secret which the king had demanded, cannot the wise men, the astrologers, the magicians, and the soothsayers show the king? Obviously, they could not. But here Daniel, the first thing that Daniel did in the presence of the king, after he asked his question, he made it known that there is a one true God that is greater than all the other gods. But there is a God in heaven that revealeth the secrets, and make it known to the king Nebuchadnezzar what shall be in the latter days, thy dreams and thy visions, and thy head upon thy bed are these. Now he told him the dream, and he gave him the dream, and he told him what it meant. Now here is an image of what Nebuchadnezzar saw in his dream. Now in his dream, he saw an image that had fine gold, and his breast and arms were silver. It had a belly of brass, his legs of iron, his feet were part of clay. Thou sawest still the stone was cut out without hands, which smote the image upon his feet, and that where the iron and the clay were break to pieces. Then the iron was the iron, the clay, the brass, the silver, and the gold broken to pieces together, and became like the shaft of the summer threshing floor, and the wind carried them away, that no place was found for them. And the stone that smote the image became a great mountain, and filled the whole earth. This is a dream, and we tell the interpretation thereof before. A great image that he saw with egg-like gold and different parts of those images. The interpretation that Daniel gave, each part, each different material that made up the image was in fact a type of kingdom that would have ruled the earth at a particular point in time. Throughout the book of Daniel, this image that he saw was actually explained. Now the head of gold was Babylon. Now this head of gold, some smaller kingdoms popped up out of it. Now Nebuchadnezzar's son, Belshazzar decided that he is going to, let's go in Daniel chapter 5. It says that Belshazzar the king made a great feast, and they were drinking and they were using the vessels of silver which Nebuchadnezzar had taken out of the temple that was in Jerusalem. Now while they were doing all of these things, the Lord, a hand appeared on the wall and it started to write on the wall. Now that hand that appeared on the wall, what happened was it wrote this, and here's it in Daniel chapter 25. Mene, mene, tekel, upharsin. Mene, mene, tekel, upharsin, or upharsin. And this means that mene means God had numbered thy kingdom and had finished it. Tekel means thou art weighted in the balance. Peres mean thy kingdom is divided and given to the means of Persians. Now, this image right here, it tells us that the head that you can see in the image, it was Babylon. So in fact, the head was Babylon and the silver arms were the Medes and Persians. Now, the same night that the king did that feast, he was slain in the same night and killed. And Darius, which was from the Median per kingdom, took charge of the kingdom of Babylon. So the fall of the kingdom of Babylon, or the era, was ended when the Darius became king. And it is shown in the image that you can see it. Set of things that happened. The kingdom of Greece actually destroyed the entirety of the Medo-Persian kingdom, and the kingdom of Greece took charge, and this was even recorded in history with the conquest of Alexander the Great. But in Nebuchadnezzar's dream, something else was actually recorded. What recorded that a stone came out of the mountain, and that one stone, without any hands or anything, it broke from the feet of clay. It broke the feet of clay down. Same stone that broke it actually went and destroyed the other parts of it. So the entirety of this image. Now the image represents different time periods. Now the head that he saw, the scripture records it that the head represented the kingdom of Babylon. Now Babylon, then Media, Persia, then Greece, then Rome. Now the significance of this image is that it records different times throughout history where different kingdoms rule. Now the last part of the image was actually our world, the toes that was made up of iron and clay. It was actually our time that we are currently living in. So our time that we are currently living in actually covers this. Now what will happen to this image? Let's look at this. Now in the book of Isaiah, it says that in Zion a stone is set for a sound foundation that will never be moved and will become an everlasting kingdom. Now that stone is actually referring to Israel. Now the current political divided world that is represented by the toes is actually our world. Our world is currently separated into different nations and all of these things. However, we are still bound together like iron, binding these feet together because of our political agreements and our trade. But the scripture is telling us that a time will come when this image, this type of world power will be no more, and the children and the kingdom of Israel will return to its former glory. And it tells us in the book of Matthew chapter 25, speaks about the Lord judging all the nations of the earth. But before this can happen, and before this breaking